we are going to open and begin the discussion session. And 3 speakers talked about the ocean data and how this ocean data is going to be applied and also is being applied to the industry. And all the 3 presentations, I think, gave us very much insight to do the brainstorming, and maybe we can talk about them more in depth. So we have 5 discussants for the session. We have 3 domestic experts here with us, and online we have 2 more experts who are joining us online. So can anybody check whether we have discussants ready online? Yes. I think we have them. Okay, now we will do the Q&A session. I would like to introduce to you about the discussants. I first would like to introduce to you about the first discussant, Emma Lockerbie, Program Officer for UNEP-WCMC.
Good afternoon, esteemed colleagues.
네, 안녕하십니까 참석자 여러분, 내외캐빈 여러분.
I'm Dr. Emma Lockerbie from the UN Environment Programme World Conservation Monitoring Centre, and thank you for this opportunity to speak today. We're at a pivotal moment in the development of the blue economy, which is experiencing unprecedented growth. As existing sectors grow and new industries are emerging, we need to ensure that the development of this new economy is sustainable. A sustainable blue economy involves not only economic growth, it is about conserving, restoring, and protecting the ecosystems that our livelihoods depend on. It requires us to balance economic activity and development with the health of our ocean. And we need to progress towards a sustainable blue economy, safeguard not only the environment, but the long-term viability of the industries that rely on it as well. And at the heart of the sustainable blue economy is data. Accurate, timely, and standardized data allow us to monitor human activities, assess their impact, and make informed decisions. As Claire Jolly mentioned in her presentation, we need this data to inform policies that are required to move towards sustainable blue economy and sustainable ocean governance. Data can be incredibly useful not only in monitoring and evaluating progress towards the various commitments such as sustainable development goals, but it can also help us move beyond an over-reliance on GDP. GDP does not capture the impact that economic activities are having on ecosystems that underpin our economy. And so we risk ecosystem degradation and losing those economic activities. Again, as Claire mentioned, there are lots of frameworks and tools that exist, such as your sustainable ocean plans that countries are developing, and the use of ocean accounts, which is a way of collecting and collating that data in a way that it is best suited to the decision makers. These tools are incredibly useful not only in decision-making processes, but are incredibly useful in collecting economic data as well as our societal and environmental data as well. And I think in terms of sharing data, it's really important to consider that our oceans are connected in a way that transcends all borders. The impact of human activity, whether it's expanding marine industries, pollution, overfishing, or the effects of climate change, reach far beyond national waters. And the systematic and cumulative effect of these activities are felt globally, affecting biodiversity, climate patterns, and coastal communities. And it's this inherent connectivity of the oceans that means if we are to manage the ocean in a sustainable way, we need to have a global systems-based approach. And this relies on the sharing of data. The progress towards this is only possible if companies, governments, scientists, and other stakeholders are open to sharing their data to better inform the practices that are happening at the global level. We also need to make sure that we're including the knowledge from local communities and indigenous peoples, because often they are the most aware of the issues that our marine ecosystems are facing. This is an area that progress is being made, and from our work in the blue economy space, we have seen that the private sector are becoming more open to sharing their data and their knowledge. And we've seen this through insurance industry, where they are becoming more and more open to sharing the work that they do in order to promote sustainable practices with the industries that they are insuring. It's been really great today to hear how experts from around the world are investigating new ways of collecting this data and investigating how that data can be used. And this is really important in making sure that the data that's collected is the best possible data to inform the decisions that need to be made. And again, as Claire mentioned, closing that knowledge gap in how marine data is being used ensures that we are doing the best that we can for our oceans. Sharing data, knowledge, and best practices will help empower businesses, financial institutions, and governments to make informed decisions that benefit not only the ocean, but also the communities and industries that rely on it. By committing to cooperation, transparency, and inclusion, we can turn the blue economy into a force of sustainable, long-term blue economic growth. Thank you so much.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you for your comments. So I wanted to introduce each panelist first and then ask you for your comment, but we've heard the first presenters or panelists comment and insights first, and thank you. I think you emphasized the need to build an ocean data which is multinational and emphasized the need to forge international cooperation to further advance the humanity. Thank you for your insights. I would like to introduce our first panelist, Emma Lockerbie, further. She had a PhD from Cape Town University, and now she works in UNEP-WCMC. She has worked in the UNEP for more than 10 years and in charge of blue economy research. Thank you for your insights. Once again, thank you. And let me introduce the second presenter. We have him online. We have Francois, President of ACRI. So I would like to ask you a question related to the first presentation. The first presenter mentioned that public usage of AI data is important. So as an expert in this field, do you have any comments to make on the public data and AI? So could you share your insights on AI and public usage of the AI? Mr.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for inviting me. I was asked to talk about AI-based exploitation of public data, the strategies of exploitation of public data by AI, and to introduce some representative examples in France and the international community. Well, I'm European, so international for me is Europe. I apologize if it doesn't expand so widely in the world. There are two topics: public data, strategies to collect, store and distribute public and exploit public data, and the use of AI. Most of the speakers here today are from governmental and intergovernmental agencies. So speaking of policies, I'm from a private company, independent private company. So I may be more practical because we are contractors. We execute the orders of governmental and intergovernmental agencies. We put things in place. First of all, I'll introduce myself. I'm a retired Admiral of the French Navy, engineer, submariner, but nonetheless with two PhDs. in material science and oceanography. And in the last 15 years, we've built up a company of a few hundreds of scientists and engineers working mainly in data science. Nonetheless, we have a small coastal engineering office in some way for the applications of data science in the maritime domain. Data science, first and above all, is related to ICT infrastructure. You need to have, we are not GAFA, we are not members of the GAFA, not so big, but you need to have the capacity to collect, store, process, distribute data, taking into account that you will use data hubs. So for instance, a small company like ours has a capacity and already stores something like 120 petabytes of data, environmental data, to compare even to what was told by Bonica Grasso from NOAA a few minutes ago. NOAA has 77 petabytes of data. A small company like ours has to process environmental data to a level of 120 petabytes, taking into account that Earth observation currently delivers roughly 100 petabytes from satellite. Earth observation from satellite deliver roughly 100 petabytes of data per year. When in some way in 2012, the stock of Earth observation from satellite all around the world, except the spy satellites, was roughly, let's say, 60 petabytes of data. So today we receive every year twice the amount of data we had before 212. That needs to be handled properly. A small company like mine has roughly a computing capacity, internal computing capacity of 1 petaflop permanently, and we extend regularly. We get 1 additional petaflop from European clouds. And when it's not enough, we get to the Luxembourgish HPC, high performance computer, to go to 34 petaflops. Not so much, but you need computing capacity. And you need also to have the capacity to bring in the data, the flux. Your supply chain should be okay. You need roughly, a company like mine is obliged to have the equivalent of 50 gigabit per second network for the flux, influx, and roughly 20 gigabit per second to deliver the data to the users and customers. So let's come now to the the strategies of public data, at least in Europe. Today, all the local governments, regional governments, national governments, and the European Commission, they all want to have their public data repositories. So we have a multitude, hundreds of public data repositories. And the issue is interoperability. For the interoperability, it's easy. You apply the INSPIRE directive of the European Commission, which is supposed to help us, let's say, have access to all the public data available in Europe. And most of the governments, local, regional, national, and so on, have, let's say, web services that are supposed to be interconnected. However, the main issue is about consistency. There is a lot of replication of data and data sets in the various public data repositories. And it's not because a file has the same name that the content will be the same. And what, for instance, I'll give an example, is when you reprocess Earth observation data from satellites. File's name will change, but when you reprocess the equivalent of 20 petabytes of the Sentinel-2 satellites data, the difficulty is to distribute the 20 petabytes of data, or chunks of them, to the various data repositories. So at the end, some have the new data, others, so there is a maintenance, others have not. So we have an issue of consistency, not only of interoperability. Now let's come back to AI. Today, I consider that we do not use AI really for data analytics today in our domain. We use AI, machine learning, in some way to speed up prediction models, as was described in the previous presentation also by Noah. I mean, for instance, for the flooding of the 7 rivers in Wales and England, or for the same in La Gironde in France, we do exactly the same. You use AI in order to have empirical models that are quick to run, in order to be able to take quick decisions. Whereas if we were using CFD, computational fluid dynamics models, and physical models, it would take hours or months. The second, in fact, use of AI today in our business is generative AI, chatbots in some way, or search engines. Because clearly most of the decision makers need in some way to have a quick answer to the questions in case of crisis. And so to explore the data sets in the public data repositories, we put in place generative AI engines in order, in some way, to quickly answer to the questions of the decision makers and be able to advise quickly for them to take decisions when it's needed in near real time. I'll stop here. Thanks a lot for listening to me.
네, 다시 한번 박수 부탁드리겠습니다.
Thank you again. Big round of applause. Thank you for that. So, I think you just said a very meaningful thing. So the marine data is not enough for us to study, and also utilization of the ocean is falling short. So you mentioned about the importance of a hub, and also we have to have a storage for ocean data, and also in order to share the data, just like how the European countries do, we have to lay a legal framework and also regulations, and also have to have rules. And we also have to think about how we can better apply AI onto ocean data. And let me introduce a third discussant. We have Kim Joo-hyun, Director from Ocean Economy Research Division. And the speaker has a PhD at the Seoul National University and also serving as the head of the Ocean Economy Research Division of the Korea Maritime Institute. So I would like to ask about the ocean data, its utilization. In terms of the blue economy, how is the ocean data is being utilized? I would like to ask you to give us a comprehensive thoughts on that. My name is Kim Joo-hyun from the Korea Maritime Institute. As is mentioned by the chairperson, from the perspective of blue economy, I would like to talk to you how the AI is being utilized and what's the future potential for the further utilization of the AI and to the ocean data. At first, when I was asked to talk about this, I did not know what to talk about this first. Why blue economy? And what's the common ground about blue economy between the AI and also ocean data? So that's what I would like to talk to you. And this is purely my own and personal opinion. I'm not representing the Academia Research Institute. So pursuing economic development of whole nation is definitely related to blue economy based on the understanding of the ocean becomes the very basic foundation for the blue economy, and relevant strategies need to be established. As you know, so much data and information is needed. Not only that, the innovation, sustainability, and also eco-friendliness emphasized by the blue economy. To secure that, the introduction of new technologies is important, and the utilization of AI is not a choice but a must. And so many consulting agencies and also research academia are reporting so many cases of the utilization of the AI. So yesterday I looked up the blue economy and also AI onto Google and searched for it, and tens of reports were out as a search result, and I really received a lot of help from the result. And the same goes for the KMI and also Professor Lockerbie and so many experts, and also NOAA are introducing so many examples, and to secure sustainability and also to innovate the utilization of the AI, how is it being used and how the utilization can be expanded. I would like to share with you some of the examples of the real cases. And according to the McKinsey Consulting Service, there's a company called Black Quantum, and AI and also business data is being utilized. And for the last 3 years, the companies came under a survey on what efforts are being made to preserve the ocean. And Black Quantum, along with the Italian Association, they release annual report. And in order to come up with their report, 2,500 companies' sustainability report was analyzed using the AI, and so many sectors, including food and also textile, it found cases which developed packaging materials are friendly to environment. And this data is being provided as open source in GitHub, so you can also check it out. Another example is that I would like to mention the companies, Canada, Canada, and also they do have the Ministry of Fisheries and Maritime. And from 2019, they have established blue economy policy, and also they have reflected the public opinions and also improved their policy. And there's an institution, TIPSense, in Canada, and also along with the state government and Frontier Research Institute, IBM have provided support, and also they are running programs to link the companies with talent, and they are postgraduate students. And recently, the population of the fish, which goes through the hydrothermal power plant, was collected. And also in one area, in order to generate clean energy, the data on sound is being collected. And of course, there's a fault, and machine learning was used in order to identify fault sound data. In order to pursue blue economy, Korea is also actively applying the AI. So in terms of policies, the Ministry of Fisheries and Maritime, we have established a basic act, and we have set the Achieving Blue Economy as a vision. And also based on the analysis using the AI, we are going to optimize the operation of reports. And using the AI, we are going to establish a system in response to national disasters using AI. And by applying AI and the latest technologies, one of the main ideas is also to nurture the startups. And I would like to share a few more examples. As the first speaker has already shared with you visualized materials, I just would like to keep my remarks simple. There's a company called Poasis. AI and IoT-based monitoring technology is applied. And here in Busan, they have conducted a project. And I think I've heard the name of the city from news. They first came up with a system to separate waste. And there's an Eco Delta city whose construction and development is on the way. And even at the bad weather conditions, they have developed a system to collect and separate waste from rivers. And what's the relation between the AI and blue economy is what I have laid out to you. Then what is the future prospect? So I have looked up some papers on the internet. This year, in the Ocean University research, there's a journal that they have published, and the research was done to calculate the economic value of a blue economy utilizing the AI. And it turns out that when we use AI, then we can go a step closer to blue economy in a sustainable manner. And also by using the AI more efficiently, we can identify the movement of our fish population. And that's just only one example of many, and that will very, very, very helpful for our government to make decisions. And also we can manage fish resources, marine resources more effectively and also efficiently. But according to this paper, nonetheless, there are so many strengths and advantages of using the AI. There are also risks, which was very interesting, wrong modeling and also precondition, and also there are unexpected external effects. And when we wrongly set the algorithms, then that will give us unexpected results. So rather, it would undermine the process of making decisions. And also the groups with enough capability of AI and those without, there's an issue of equality. And there is an expert called Jennifer, who is a very, very expert in this arena, and she said that the combination of the blue economy and also AI will be revolutionary. And when we fully understand the AI, and also she emphasized that nurturing the expert who has a full understanding of this is very important. So we have to have enough opportunities for them, and there's increasing demand for the use of the AI. And also we have to have talent who has understanding of blue economy and also AI at the same time. Not only students, but also government and also leaders of the public and also private sector have to receive education on potential impact brought by the AI on blue economy. I also agree with this. There's a marine tourism data out there available, but we have to collect it, we have to analyze it well. Unless we fully understand the purpose of data, then collecting, analyzing data will be meaningless, and how we collect it, how we label it, and how we utilize it. So general, the measures on to how we are going to use it needs to be a kind of a topic that we have to receive education on that, so that we can address limitations and also potential issues. So we have to provide education on this, and also to do that, I think this session is very timely and also meaningful. And I believe that today's session will lay the very foundation for the future forward.
So from the perspective of blue economy, I ask you to summarize the AI and ocean usage, and you gave all the correct answers. As you may heard, I think we have traveled to Mars. We know some things about Mars, but people think that they know ocean better than Mars. But if you go down to the ocean, you don't know the risk and potential of the ocean. So I don't think that human knows ocean very well. In order to prepare ourselves against those risks and tap into the opportunities that the ocean presents, we need data. And I think data is the building block of understanding the ocean. And AI is taking one step further, making us enabling us to utilize the ocean through innovation. I think that in that aspect, AI is very useful for us. Next panelist is Mr. Lee Cheol-yong from KIOS. He got his PhD from Inha University, and he is the director of Marine Big Data and AI Center from Korea Institute of Ocean Science and Technology. I'll pose you a broad question. We know ocean big data exists, and we have been introduced about coastal big data program under KIOS. How can we utilize AI? Good afternoon. I am Lee Cheol-yong, Director of Marine Big Data and AI Center of KIOS. Today, I'm going to talk to you about ocean big data, how we can use AI, and the potential it presents. I think there are positive sides and negative sides as well, and we also have constraints. I think the theme itself is quite broad. Ocean big data itself is, the scope of it is getting bigger and bigger. Other than the ocean data, there are many data to be fused into the ocean field. As we discover more and more data, we need to think about analytics as well. In the past, the AI technology was used to analyze data and use as a prediction tool. But now we have generative AI. Accordingly, the collection, processing, and management of the data can be done by AI. So likewise, the scope to apply AI technology is getting broader and broader. So previously, we saw the tide heights, depth of the sea, and salinity of the water. We gather big data on this and analyze these. We only had observation data that was conducted one-off, but now we have real-time data and data from IoT sensors. If we fuse all those data, we can have a better understanding, and we need to analyze all those together. And how we collect the data and how we manage the data should be discussed. Among the content that the previous panelists mentioned, we have the data, big amount of data, for example, 20 petabytes of data from one satellite. If we develop it in AI that can handle such amount of data, would be good, but we don't have the infrastructure, or we don't have any business use case for those vast amount of data. I think we are taking baby steps. And this requires a lot of considerations from the research institute. And I think we'll have to create new use cases. In kiosks, other than the AI Big Data Center, many departments are using AI technology. In the physiology, chemical, or geography, we are doing a lot of research in these fields. And there's no single field that doesn't use AI. If you look at the research project, the title is contain AI-based R&D. So we need to keep a close eye on how the technology develops and how we are going to utilize it. So AI model development is not the end goal. The tool should contribute to the blue economy, and for that we need a policy support. And based on such policy support, the industry will have to use it, and for that we need to create an environment for the private sector to use more freely. The coastal big data platform was introduced, and I was in charge of that for 3 years. I had an interview with the postdoc community. And when we ask about the need for the big data, they've mentioned that they think it will contribute, but they don't need it right away. So the awareness should be enhanced through PR or policy efforts. I think that kind of promotion is greatly needed and make the culture to actively utilize the big data and AI. If not, then AI will be something, the field only discussed by the scientists. So that public awareness should be increased. To accelerate the further development of technology, we need to utilize the generative AI. From scientist perspective, when scientists did research project, AI was used as a tool for prediction. So now I think AI has been developed to take on the role of research assistants. AI can save time and enhance the efficiency of the research. So how we use this AI is more important, and create the opportunities to more actively use AI in a better way. If so, then the quality of the research will be increased. There are a lot of things that I would like to mention regarding big data, but I only have 7 minutes. So if you have any question, I'll ask later. Thank you.
Thank you.
우리가
So we are talking about the ocean and also AI, so ocean intelligence. And I talk about it in a good way. And as you know, the speed of the advancement of technology is very fast. And we need legal foundation, and also we need a good understanding of it. We need to raise awareness among all of us. But still, I think we are lagging behind of the speed of the technological advancement. So what's been shared by experts is that because of all the advantage of the technologies, I think there's an issue. We still think whether we can really catch up with the speed of the technological advancement with everything that we have to do. And the last discussant is Kim Kang-hyun, professor of Gyeongnam College of Information and Technology. He achieved a PhD in Bugyong University. And also he is the Secretary General of Korea Ocean Research Institute. May I call you professor? I would like to ask you one question. As I mentioned earlier, there's a technological aspect about all this. We are talking about the utilization of the AI onto the ocean and the future prospect. Then who is going to really deal with the data and collect and organize the data, and who is going to advance the AI technology? I think at the end of the day, we, the human beings, we have to do it. And they could be experts, or they could be the person with expertise. So about this, maybe the company can foster an ecosystem, and there are ways to nurture talent. What do you think about it? My name is Kim Kwang-hyun, just introduced. So all the presenters and discussants, all the things that they talk in commonalities, that how we are going to really nurture talent, which is very important. And that's why I am the last discussant to talk about this. Nurturing talent is very important. And I would like to say that, of course, I'm teaching students. but I left my university recently, and I went back to the private sector. And maybe towards the end of my remarks, I can talk more about why I did it. So nurturing talent is struggling. We are struggling to nurture talent because those who go to school, the population is going down, and also in scientific arena, we are lacking talent, and especially in the ocean industry, it is all the more problematic. So I think all the president of the universities in Busan came to attend the opening ceremony of the forum, and they already mentioned about their nurturing talent. It's very difficult as a person who taught students. And I would like to share with you measures on how we can nurture talent. First of all, Busan is the second largest city and also a city of ocean. And the ocean, AI, and also the AI and ocean. I have looked up the department dedicated into these sectors among universities in Busan, and there's none within the Ministry of Ocean and Maritime. Recently, the Department of the Ocean and AI was established, and they could only accept 9 students. In this kind of situation, how can we really catch up with the speed of the advancement of the IT and also changing environment? How can we really nurture talent to meet with these changing situations? So I would like to share with you my experience. Educational curriculum is very important. So establishing a new department in a university at the moment is difficult. So we have to think about how we can really converge with the existing departments and studies. So when it comes to curriculum, the studies on ocean and also the studies on the AI could be convert. So during the fresh year, the students can learn about the 2 topics, and then toward the last year of the university, again, they could learn about more advanced knowledge about the 2 topics. And what I'm about to say is more important. As you know, the academic population is decreasing and technology is advancing very fast, meaning that those who are already working need to be a target of short-term, mid-term education. So university needs to establish separate curriculums for workers. And also environment of those who are working in the actual industry needs to be also reflected upon the educational curriculum for workers. So university can really come up with feasible short-term, mid-term, long-term educational courses for those who are already working in the field. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, education online is very active, and there's an educational platform called the MOOC, and globally renowned scholars deliver their lectures, and which was recorded, and such a video clip is uploaded on MOOC, and students who take the online class can also be recognized for that class that they took. And also industry academia cooperation is very important. So industry academia is important and it's easier said than done. But we really have to look back on whether the actual industry academia cooperation takes place. And there are so many joint projects that we can do along with the industry and academia. So we have to really come up with more and more of the cooperative project. And also we have to set and foster environment so that industry, academia, cooperation can be really possible. And then after finishing study, then the students who studied in this subject can go to the private sector working for the industry. And lastly, the role of the government is very important. The government has to provide very strong financial and policy support. Utilizing the government level subsidy, they have to really provide a lot of support. So when a project in the ocean starts, then it requires a lot of financial resources for a project, especially in the ocean. So not only education, but also we have to think about providing more financial resources so that students can really do have a hands-on experience. And the last one is accreditation system. We have to have more people who are recognized and certified by professional organizations. More of those people, then the bigger virtuous cycle will be created within the industry. And as the speakers from abroad have already talked about this, the international cooperation is all the more needed. And also, we have to analyze data on the demand for talent and also labor in this industry. We have to precisely analyze and also predict the future demand so that it could become very basic data for the university to create a new studies or department. In order to nurture talent, of course, we have to have more roles being played by the industry so that the industry can attract good talent, and then in turn, the university will nurture more talent. So many presenters and also discussants talked about this, and commonality among being said is ocean climate, ocean observation were one of the things that they mentioned a lot, which is very, very closely related to ocean climate. One of the reasons that I went back to the private sector is that the company, the Showtech that I'm working for, is dealing with wasted fishing gears, and then we are thinking about how we can recycle those abandoned and discarded fishing gears. So we are planning to issue a patent, apply for a patent. And the research should not be an end in itself. We should not just do research for the sake of doing research, right? We have to think about how we can help the general public to use the AI data. We have to really widen our perspective towards this issue. Here we have renowned researchers, including panelists and also speakers. We just talk to each other, right? And rather than us just talking to each other, all the things that we share here today also needs to be delivered to the general public. We have to think about how the general public and also fishing population is going to understand and is going to receive what we are talking here, right? So we have to be more practical in conducting research so that we can attract good talent, and that will contribute to the promotion of the local economy and also local industry. When local industry generates a lot of profit, then that will contribute to the booming of the local economy. So in this sense, the role of the industry is this. They have to think about demanders and also researchers, and they have to become like a bridge between them, and they have to play their role as a coordinator. between actual consumers or demanders and also researchers. So in the future, I will serve myself as a coordinator and also bridge between researcher and also actual demander. That's why I left university to work for the industry. Today, it is all the more pleasure and also honor for me to be part of today's discussion session along with the renowned discussants. And either it is AI or ocean, nurturing talent is very, very important. And I'm sure most of you reside in Busan, which is the second largest city and the second largest port city. I would like to ask for your continued interest and also attention for further development of Busan and for advancement of the AI.
네, 좋은 말씀 감사합니다.
Thank you for your good comment. Among what you said, there was one impressive thing to me. You stressed the importance of the cooperative ecosystem of academia, government, and private, as well as AI. I think we took a first step towards that through this session. So I've posed my first question, and it is already 3 o'clock. I would like to ask the second question to 3 of the discussants. To 2 foreign experts, I would like to ask you one question each. To Emma Lockerbie first. You've mentioned that one impressive thing, you've mentioned that ocean data knows no border. To interpret that, related to ocean data, international cooperation is needed. I guess that's what you've mentioned. So from your perspective, the international cooperation, for that, we have national data and private data. So will there be any possibility of a platform for all the countries and private sector to share the data? So is there any possibility of that platform?
Thank you so much for your question. There are some platforms that already exist that are storing global data. There is Hub Ocean, there is the Global Ocean Data Viewer, and the Global Ocean Observing System as well. So there are already platforms out there that do contain data from scientists all over the world. But I do think this is something that needs continuing improvement. There's a lot of data out there, and in order for it to be most useful, we need people to be willing to put their data onto the platforms that exist. So from my point of view, it's not so much that we're waiting for these platforms. There are several platforms that exist. There are some data-specific platforms as well, such as there is fisheries data, there's open sources on the sea around us and from the FAO as well. But it's more we need the willingness of the people who hold the data to upload their data and share their data on these platforms so that it can be used.
Thank you for very useful information. So later we'll make sure that we go to the website and check what data is available there. And my second question goes to Francois Martin Rosé. So as we discuss about it, we talk about public data a lot. So I'm not an expert in data. When there is a public data, there's a private data. And public data will be collected and also gathered, and also the private sector also will be collecting data. In the private sector, there could be overlapping parts of the data. And for the blue economy, if we can efficiently collect the data, that would be much better. So between the public and also private data, maybe we can connect it to each other and to have measures for users to efficiently and also effectively use the data from the public and also private at the same time without any waste.
Apologize, I was mute. Okay, thank you for your question. It's quite important in some way because all the speakers have said that data have values. Public data have values and are available for free because it's paid on public money, so by the taxpayers. But they have values nonetheless, socio-economic values. Private data have values, but they come from the commercial market. If they have values, you have to pay for them. And most of the time when we collect data, when people collect data for customers or consumers, they are paid to deliver the data to the guys that order the data. So the problem is how do you manage the fact that the data have values and in some way they have to be free, which means for any economist it has zero value, economically speaking, if you don't pay for it. So the main issue is in some way to transform private data into public data. That's the first thing. The second one is when you put public and private data on the same infrastructure, if the private data are confidential, whereas the public data are open, you have to manage properly the confidentiality and making sure that somebody who is not authorized to get access to the private data won't do it. And then when you have to fuse public open data with private confidential data, normally at the end it has to be done in confidentiality if the information is supposed to be confidential. So there is a practical issue. So I come to my 2 points are first, there is an economic issue and then there is a practical issue. And of course, I don't give any, there is no moral on that. I'm not saying that private data should not become public data for the sake of humanity.
네, 감사합니다. 저의 무지를
Thank you for your comment. You gave further explanation, and thank you for enlightening me with your expertise. While listening to you, I realized that public data is really important because private data is something we need to pay to get it. So I think public data will have to be used more to guarantee more accessibility to the general public and create more opportunities from there. My second and third question goes to Mr. Lee Cheol-yong. During the keynote speech yesterday, the chairperson of UNIOC mentioned that when applying AI to the ocean, there can be challenges. Among those challenges, he mentioned data reliability should be guaranteed, and data bias should be solved, and AI data should not be biased, and contamination of the data generated from the AI is a problem that we need to solve. So I want to ask your opinion on this. I would like to know whether these kind of problems frequently occur and how can we take measures against this. When developing AI model, one of the issues that we face is what you've mentioned. When biased data goes into the model, then the AI algorithm learns wrong thing. So domain experts will have to produce quality training data. And they need to check whether the data should be input to train the algorithm or not. And standards should be established on that as well. We have AI ethical committee, and they see the ethical aspect of the data. But at the same time, we need to make a judgment on whether the algorithm should learn this data or not based on the quality and reliability issue. And we will have to think about this. And on this, ocean scientists' responsibility is there. The data gathered from the sensors contain errors. So calibration should be done. So to what extent we are going to do the calibration and imputation to fix and train the AI model well is something they will have to consider further. In nurturing the personnel, I want to recommend some things. We need to have personnel or students with all-rounded knowledge on AI. So even though they're ocean students or ocean personnel, they need to have a knowledge on the AI too. So the training data set, if the scientists train the AI algorithm without knowing the ocean, then the outcome from that AI algorithm will be useless. So the domain experts should engage in training the AI algorithm on the ocean. In going forward, I hope that there will be policy support on this as well. Currently, when developing the AI model, the biggest hurdle that we face is that as the data set is established based on crowdsourcing, the labeling of the data is not done well. And the algorithm learns those wrongly labeled data, and the output or outcome from that model is sometimes useless. So we need to have a monitoring and management system on this. If not, then AI can be a disaster for us. So that's the food for thought from my side.
감사합니다. 재난으로
Thank you. Yes, I think you said that it could come as a disaster. Yes, I agree with that. And we have so many people here using the ChatGPT. I'm sure you already have relevant experience to this. So yes, we can get good results from ChatGPT. But we always doubt the ChatGPT, whether it is true or false, right? Who will verify this? Yes, sometimes when we use the data from the ChatGPT to write a report, sometimes, yes, I become very hesitant. So in utilizing the data, I think it boils down to the same issue, how to verify, how to manage the reliable data. So I think all of the things are what we need to put into consideration. So it's 3:10. We have 20 minutes to go, and we'll take questions from the floor. We have been talking to each other for a long time, although the time given to us is not very long, only 20 minutes. Any question, any comment? I'm more than welcome.
예, 2분 먼저 하시고 두 번째 이렇게 하도록 하겠습니다. 죄송하지만
Please state your name. Hi. I worked for Woody Bank, and I can tell you from the perspectives of a person who worked for the financial sector. Blue economy, the concept is a new concept to me. And what I've been thinking is that for now, Busan City University, whether or not to establish that university is coming under review, and I opposed the idea, thinking that it is a waste of our budget. But after listening to your presentations and discussions, made me feel that we need to nurture talent. I thought that we have already people with great expertise in this arena. That's why I opposed to the idea of establishing new university. But you are saying that we are lacking talent. So maybe I think I have to really change my opinion. Busan is a port city and the city of ocean, meaning that we have to generate income from the ocean. And we have to really think about whether making an investment into this will give us economic benefits. And I heard that initial investment is huge. If that is the case, how really we can how we can monetize our initial investment? So it is heard that it takes about 150 billion Korean won to establish Busan City University, and all the things that you mentioned, the blue economy and all that. How and who is going to guarantee monetization out of making an investment into all the things and also efforts that we are making for blue economy? For example, we have to at least know that the success rate will be like over 80% and 90%, so that we have a firm ground to ask for the central government to give us financial resources. So to execute something, we have to verify it thoroughly so that we can ensure ourselves that this will generate more money for us and also creating jobs for Busan, and also it will lay great foundation for Busan to become a global city. I have shared my idea as a person from the financial background.
Yeah, very good question. Okay. 질문을 듣고
So after receiving the second question, we will give you an answer.
Thank you. I was waiting for the microphone. Hello, my name is Simon van der Wulp. I'm from North.io, company from Germany, software developer and host of the True Ocean data platform. A very interesting discussion, the use of AI and ocean data. I'd like to give a short view from my perspective and also a reference to a project which is, I think, very important in this discussion. At first, AI, we've seen different applications, only a few of the infinite applications you can use for AI. Yeah? So actually what we've seen is information drawn from data, which is of course the target. However, an AI is just like any other algorithm, but maybe more powerful. It is a way to get information from data, which depends on the perspective. What are you looking for? What problem do you want to solve? So that's the first thing you have to put in the center. And to train an AI, you need data. A lot of data. Data is actually the limiting factor. Setting up an AI is not difficult anymore, so that's getting better. So then we come to the point of the data, and I think Mr. Bade stated it very good, that and Mrs. Lockerbie as well, the availability of data is the crucial point. And there we've got then the 2 points. We've got the public data, we've got the private data. They both have two different, well, they've got the same value if it comes down for AI and how you can use it, because you need that data to run the AI. It's got a different background in where it comes from, who pays for it, and how to make it accessible. And also clearly stated and also confirmed by the panelists. Public data should be public, and you need to be able to find it. You've got many different platforms, but you would like to know what data is available, where, from what time, what parameters, what dimensions, etc. For the public sector, it's the same thing. You need to know where it is available. But of course, you've got a lot of so-called data silos. So data is set on by the organization who paid for it. It's inaccessible. So the crucial point in this discussion, to my opinion, is the findability and accessibility of the data. For the private sector, they've got another obstacle. They cannot just give it away because they paid for it. It's probably paid by their customers, so it's not that free. It might even be restricted in security. So you have to overcome this. That's very important. So uploading, like Mrs. Lockerbie also indicated, we've got a platform, upload it there, and then we've got it all together, is not going to work. Because the data platform, nobody's going to put their data there. So now we come to the point I'd like to make, or the reference I'd like to make, and this was also mentioned in the session before here about fisheries, about the Marispace X and FishX projects. These are European-driven projects, and they don't talk about collecting the data on one single platform. They've got a decentralized system, so everybody can have their own data on their own way, but there's a platform where people can offer the data, so they can make it visible to whoever is interested in this. And the actual data exchange takes place as soon as the two parties get to know each other and they've got a common agreement on how to use the data, which could be public, so freely accessible. It could be under certain conditions. It could even be monetary. But making it visible and searchable is the first step to make data available to drive AI. So that's the point. So maybe also for those interested, Marispace X is, I think, a good reference to discuss this topic. Thank you.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you very much. We have received two very good comments and also opinion. And maybe the head over the center, Chun, can answer the second question. So yes, I could tell that you're from Germany. GaiaX project and MySpace X are also the project of my interest, and also I paid a visit to Hanover Beth, and also I checked the state of those projects. And other than that, North Pacific Scientific Research Institute, PICES, there's a T-Court, Technical Coordinator. Data exchange is the committee that I'm participating in. For example, sharing metadata. How can we really expand data availability, and also how can we better use that data for developing better AI model? But the current status in Korea is that we are being very conservative towards public data. We call it public data. However, at the government level, all the public data is being used for administrative affairs. And also, we are in an armistice treaty against North Korea, so there's restrictions in terms of using public data. So we have to take that special situation into consideration that we are in. So going beyond that restrictions, there's a Ministry of Science and ICT, which provides a policy support. There's a coastal big data platform which combines public data, and that is the platform to provide public data to the private sector. And also there's data from private sector. Again, the platform for sharing private data is now on the way for establishment. So by sharing such metadata, efforts will be there continuously to make sure the utilization of the data. And also my X space is one of my interests, so we could talk about it later on more.
질문하신 분에 대한
So I will give the answer to the first question asked. So Busan Metropolitan City is attempting to establish a graduate school of Busan City University. And you've mentioned that we need to check the profitability of establishing yet another graduate school. I think university has to nurture talent, and somebody has to do it. Let's say if Busan City established a university, should we prioritize profitability? three sides of the Korean peninsula is surrounded by ocean. There are some conditions, I think. If the Busan City wishes to establish Busan City Graduate School, then the structure should be different from other university. And there are some unique characteristics of Busan that should be considered as part of the graduate school. And I think university or graduate school should not become the means of earning money. So I think the future depends on the next generation talent. We cannot prove their profitability. And as this is a city university and city graduate school, then we will have to nurture talent that can contribute to the country. I think somebody will take the responsibility on making the decision, but when we establish the Busan City University, then we will have to make an organization that can contribute to the unique characteristics of the Busan industry, for example, tourism, maritime, and so on. If that is yet another university or graduate school, then I will oppose to the idea just like you.
네, 감사합니다.
Thank you. We only have 5 minutes to go, and the next section will be held in this same venue. So I know that we could spend a couple of more hours, right, exchanging more questions and answers. I can read the room, but I think this brings an end to the session. We better wrap it right now. So for nearly 2 hours, we have talked about marine data and AI possibilities and prospects of blue economy era, focusing on blue economy. So we have dealt with so many topics and hope the information that we have shared turns out to be useful and beneficial to all of you. So I think there are many things ahead of us, right, for us to achieve and to make more efforts. I would like to thank many people who are joining us online and also offline. I also would like to thank 2 discussants who are joining us from abroad and also 3 discussants offline. Thank you so much.